really excited for our next guest, guy I've known for a long time, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers, former Los Angeles Rams linebacker, superstar on Wall Street, Cameron Lynch. You can follow him on Instagram at Cameron Lynch 50. Cam, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me. Nice to finally connect here on the podcast.
Oh, happy to have you. Great to connect. Great to talk some football with you. You've done it at the highest level, and you're doing some pretty incredible things in your life after football. Working with Visa, I've seen you making the rounds on Wall Street. You've popped up on CNBC and on the background of the TVs here in the command center. During the middle of the week. Tell me what you have going on and a day in the life, if you will, in Cam Lynch, Wall Street superstar.
Yeah. So yeah, working at Visa, which is great, in the payment space, and then currently doing some content strategy for the team. So the world of podcasting, creating content, that's in my wheelhouse. Now the big thing is creators. You know what I mean? Creators are a big part of people's businesses, and when it comes to pushing a brand and elevating that. So that's been really cool to dive into that space, being at Visa, big payments company. And then outside of that, jumping into real estate as well. So, using some of those earnings from football to deploy those finances and to get some property, right? Build up the equity and wealth. So that's kind of what's cooking on my end. Living the married life as well. So being of service, to my partner each and every day. So life has been great. Can't complain.
So tell me about the role with Visa because you're working with some of the top athletes across the sports world and obviously leveraging some of your connections from your time in the NFL and the relationships you built along the way. How did that come about and what's the most rewarding aspect of that work for you?
Yeah. So we started at Visa through a program for former athletes. So it's called the Champions Program, and so through that, I was able to join the sponsorship team, and through that sponsorship team, work with the NFL since Visa's a major sponsor of that. And so, like you mentioned, working with the Christian McCaffreys, Visa's working with Christian, of course, the 49ers as well. And one of the most rewarding things that we've done is we've worked with his nonprofit, and so his nonprofit leans more into the gaming space and kids in some of the hospitals and make sure they had gaming consoles. And so we did a great activation with him. We had a small business owner design his cleat, right, for My Cause My Cleats Week, and those donations went to his nonprofit, which was cool, the Christian McCaffrey Foundation. So really leaning into the business side of the NFL and serving some of the players that I played against, right? I played at the Buccaneers, so I played against Christian McCaffrey in the NFC South Division. So it's just really cool not only to line up across these guys on the football field, but also line up with these guys when it comes to business at Visa. So it's been really a really awesome experience, and hope to do more.
And you mentioned Christian, and obviously you guys had some battles when he was in Carolina, and now you see him looking to come back from the injuries from a year ago. What makes him special? Because you start naming off the top running backs in the NFL. Of course, you have your Saquon Barkleys. You can talk about Josh Jacobs winning the rushing title in a big year in Green Bay, his first year with the Packers. But Christian McCaffrey's name is in that upper echelon elite of the elite. What makes him special as a back and as a player?
Yeah, he can do it all. I think it was a year that he won, was it offensive MVP? He got onto the Madden cover. He had like a throwing touchdown, a running touchdown, and a
Yeah.
catching touchdown all in the same game. And I feel like that was against the Rams, but I think he can just do it all. He's a triple threat. And so, as a linebacker, when you prepare against an athlete like that, it takes two, right? Like you're gonna let your linebackers know, your buddies know, or even the defensive lineman, like, hey, if this guy releases, like I need you to get a hand on him. And so I think when it comes to athletes that are the best of the best, it takes more than one to cover that person or really to game plan for them. And so he can do it all. And then also off the field, we talk about what he does for his nonprofit, some of the things he does for Visa and the content that he creates. He's a well-rounded individual. He's a family man. I think he just had his first child and everything like that. And so it's just cool to see athletes take the success on the field and translate it to off the field. So that's what makes him so dynamic.
And just, switching gears to football here, one of your former teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they've perennially been built on defense, a dominant defense, kind of adopting Todd Bowles' mentality as a head coach, formerly a defensive coordinator. There's a lot of buzz about Baker Mayfield as a sleeper MVP candidate. They've done a nice job with, the likes of Jalen McMillan and, of course, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all the weapons they've put around him. But when you talk about that defense and you talk about Todd Bowles, Cam, would you say this is close to a make or break year for Bowles going into this season in Tampa?
I know it's funny looking at it because I looked up some of the stats and everything like that before the show, and I saw that he's been to the playoffs in the past 3 years. Right, every time he's been a head coach, he's been to the playoffs. He's won the division each year, and so that's hard to pass up. Right, I mean, we can look for another head coach to replace Todd Bowles. How much better will you get than that? I mean, of course, I know Todd's been losing in the first round of the playoffs since he's been there. But at the end of the day, he's winning the division. I think we look at success. Like, what does a successful team look like? The championship is number one, right? We had Tom Brady. We were able to win a championship. Right now, we don't have Tom Brady, but we have Baker Mayfield, and he's doing a good job of orchestrating the offense. I think was it Mike Evans had 1,000 yards last year. It was epic, right? Coming back from an injury and then getting to that 1,000 yard mark. Bucky ran for 1,000 yards plus, and then Baker threw for 4,000 yards, 4,500 yards, which is third in the league. So I think at the end of the day, he's doing a great job on the offensive side. I know Liam Cohen left, and Josh Grizzard is leading that offense, but I feel like Todd Bowles is doing a great job of having successful seasons. A championship is the most successful that you can have, but he's having successful seasons, and I think we need to give someone like him a chance, especially when it comes to the brown and black head coaches. Right? I think the time frame is a little bit shorter, and so I think within the time that he has been a head coach, he's done a great job. So I don't think this is a make or break year. The defense, I would say though, Matt, he's known as a specialist on the defensive side. I think the defense is going to have to apply some pressure, create some turnovers to help his case out.
And of course, the Buccaneers signed both Jason Licht, the GM, and Todd Bowles to a 3-year extension, going into the season. So there is some runway there for Bowles, for this group that's done such a great job of building a consistent contender. What's it going to take for Tampa to get over the top? You talk about winning the division every year, going to the playoffs where the success has been a little harder to come by. How do the Buccaneers get over that hump? How do they climb into that Super Bowl tier in the NFC?
Yeah, I think it's the defense. The defense has to create some of the turnovers, get the ball back to Baker Mayfield. I know Levante David is back. Thank God. I think the Buccaneers defense has a chance when Levante is playing football. And then also when the Buccaneers stay healthy. Matt, I'm here in Tampa right now, and it's hitting 100 degrees each day. And so I imagine that wear and tear takes a toll on the bodies of the players, especially as the season continues. And so I know the guys are going to be happy when the bye week comes, right? So after the bye week, they can get some rest after training camp and go on a run like they did last year. But what I would say is the defense is going to have to get some turnovers. That's going to be a big key. And then, of course, the offense continue to click on every cylinder. Make sure that Mike Evans has his 1,000 yard season. Bucky Irvin, same thing, and really just repeat. And I know Tristan Wirfs right now; he's working through an injury, so making sure that Tristan is healthy as well. Baker doesn't do all that unless Tristan Wirfs is healthy and making sure he's protecting him. So I would like to see the defense step things up on this year. We drafted some corners and a lot of guys on the defensive side. So I think we're primed to get that done for the Buccaneers.
And one of the big offseason signings that flew under the radar just a little bit because it was only a 1-year deal was the Buccaneers signing Hassan Reddick. And, a guy who wasn't happy after being traded from the Eagles to the New York Jets. There was that long holdout there. Just from a player's perspective, one, what kind of impact does a guy like Hassan Reddick have on that pass rush? And given that it's a 1-year deal, how much added incentive is it for Reddick to go out and ball out, knowing that, hey, that next big contract might be looming if you get that 10, 11 sack type of season this year?
Yeah, Simon Reddick, he's 30 years old right now. And so every moment counts. I think he posted something on his Instagram talking about vengeance, right? Like his comeback year. And so that's really cool to see. And you look at Hassan Reddick's stats. I mean, you look at the Super Bowl in 2023, my man had like two and a half sacks during the Super Bowl. And so he led the league in sacks that year, I think, with like 19 and a half. And so to go to the Jets. I think he held out for a little while for contract issues, and then now with the Buccaneers, I think it's we landed on the gold mine, really, right? Was it one person's trash, another man's treasure, and I don't think that athletes are trash in that sense, but just the analogy, the Jets didn't want him, the Eagles didn't want him, but the Buccaneers we want him here, and so I think he'll be able to apply some great pressure on the quarterback, force some fumbles, which he's led the league in at one point as well. And I think about just the Buccaneers defense. I think about players like Shaq Barrett, right? When Shaq Barrett came to the Buccaneers from Denver, I think he was destroying offensive linemen and quarterbacks. And so I think Hassan Reddick's going to have that similar juice when it comes to the Buccaneers defense. And playing in front of a guy like Levante David, he's going to make Hassan Reddick's life a lot easier. And so with the younger defensive back group, I think those guys are going to be happy to play behind Hassan Reddick as well, because the ball is going to have a little bit more lift than normal, right? The quarterback's going to throw the ball in inaccurate positions because of the pressure. And the Buccaneers did a great job last year pressuring the quarterback. So I see a bright future for Hassan Reddick. He's going to have to get used to the heat. I'll say that, Matt. But other than that, it should be a great year for the Bucs defense.
I want to switch gears to one of your other former teams, the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, they came 13 yards away, a play away from knocking out the Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs last year. How do they close the gap? Because, I mean, the NFC's loaded, right? You have Philly, you have Washington. If Detroit can stay healthy, if San Francisco can stay healthy in their own division, Arizona is coming on pretty strong. The Falcons are a sleeper team. What do the Rams need to do with the roster they have in place to close that gap and become a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
Yeah, what the Rams did, what I like, similar to the Buccaneers, is they loaded up on defense a little bit. I think just getting a guy like Puna Ford on the defensive line to help out, Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner. I think that's really important. The run game is a big deal, and you look back to that Eagles game. Saquon Barkley is known as a Rams killer now because the way he ran the football against the Rams, and so locking in a linebacker like Nate Lamb to help firm up and lead that defense, I think is really important. And so the Rams did a good job of, like I said, making sure that the defense is strong. Chris Shula is a second-year defensive coordinator as well, and so having that experience of playing against the Super Bowl champions and the Eagles, and I know they were 13 yards away, but at the end of the day, it was a butt whooping. Let's just keep it honest. It was a butt whooping. And so for Chris Shula to get some experience and get some more guys up front to help him out, I think it's going to be a big deal. And then a guy like Jared Verse, where he's just getting better, I think he's going to show up for that defense in a great way. And I think, of course, firming up the linebacker position, Nate Landman drafted a linebacker as well, and then make sure the DBs are covering on the back end. And then hey, hopefully Matthew Stafford stays healthy. That's the other big thing as well, right? I think he had some back issues, so making sure that the offense clicking on all cylinders. Devontae Adams, which is really cool to see. Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. So they have a chance, I would say.
You mentioned Jared Verse. He was incredible as a rookie, 4.5 sacks, was somehow even more dominant than that in the Rams' 2 postseason games. What's his ceiling as a player? And is there a linebacker that maybe you've played with or played against or you've come across in your career that Jared Verse reminds you of in terms of what he could become?
Yeah, Jared Verse, I think just his motor, right? You look at some of his stats. He didn't have, 19, we just talked about Son Reddick. He didn't have 19 and a half sacks last year as a rookie, right? But what I will say, though, his pressure rate, he was rookie of the year. I think PFF ranked him like top 50 NFL players in the league right now. And so as a rookie, that's a lot to say. I think Teron Armstead got online and was like, hey, he made retiring a lot easier for me, right? Jared Verse coming in as a bully, and he reminds me of just with his motor. He reminds me of like a Nick Bosa, the Bosa brothers, in their motor. It's like no matter where the quarterback is, they're going to use a straight line against the quarterback. And so I think when quarterbacks game plan for Jared Verse now, they're going to have to make sure they chip him because he's the talk of the town when it comes to the Rams, when it comes to the rookies, and that year he had last year. So of course he trained with Aaron Donald, right? He got smoked in the weight room against Aaron Donald, which was funny to see. But it's just cool to see the torch being passed. I know Kobe Turner is a defensive lineman for the Rams too, and he's doing a good job up front or in the interior. But Jared Verse has the opportunity to be one of the best defensive players in the league for the next 5 to 10 years. So, like I said, the motor is like a Bosa brother for me.
Cam, go around the NFL real quick here. Who's the most complete linebacker in the NFL right now? If Cam Lynch is sitting down, you got the remote in your hand on a Sunday, you got the Sunday ticket. Who's the linebacker that you're searching out that you want to spend your Sunday watching?
Yeah, I mean, there's two of them. I'm gonna be a little biased because I played at Syracuse and Zaire Franklin. He's led the league in tackles for the past 3 years or so. I think
Total
he
baller.
to-
Total ballers there, Franklin.
total ball. I don't think he gets as much love as he should. I mean, coming from he's playing at the Colts, and so the Colts aren't really winning as many games as they should right now. But you think about guys like Zach Bond, who emerged onto the scene for the Eagles, but was kind of behind the curtain a little bit when he played for the Saints, but emerged into the scene for a championship team. And so, if you give a guy like Zaire Franklin a chance on a championship team, we're going to be talking about him a lot more. And the other person too is Fred Warner. At the end of the day, I mean, he's an absolute baller. He plays sideline to sideline. He got a major extension recently. And you think about some of the linebackers that have come through of the 49ers, right? You got guys like Dre Greenlaw, right? He's helped elevate the game of some of the guys he's played next to. And so, Quan Alexander, for an example, as well. And so, a guy like Fred Warner is someone who I want to watch on Sundays, same as Zaire Franklin.
It's been quite a month to be Cam Lynch. No doubt about this. You get inducted into your high school Hall of Fame. You're named to the Syracuse All 21st Century team. What kind of whirlwind has this been like for you? And how amazing does it feel to be recognized by both your alma maters as one of the top athletes, top players, top people to roll through those hallways?
Yeah, it's a blessing. I mean, you talk about rolling through the hallways, and one thing that I want to share with, for the Hall of Fame really is like just treat people well because you just never know when it's going to come back around. I don't think you get inducted to a Hall of Fame, you don't get named to lists if you're not a nice person, if you're not a great person, if you're an asshole. And so that's one thing that I want to impress upon people is be great to people. People remember how you treat them, and so doing that, but then also laying down great work, at the end of the day, making plays. And so it's been a dream really this week. I mean, my birthday's coming up next week on August 4th. And so to have all these things stack up and then celebrate for the birthday is going to be quite amazing and quite the dream. And so I'm looking forward to seeing some of my former teammates, seeing the other inductees at the Hall of Fame and giving them their flowers as well. Because for me, I don't get to where I am now without the people that led the way. And so it's an extreme honor. And then also, too, you talk about the 21st century list at Syracuse. Um, for me, it took a while to actually start to get on the field, right? I had to play special teams for a while for the first 2 years, of course, start on the blitz packages and then finally start my junior year. And so to be recognized on that list amongst other great players at Syracuse, like I said, is a dream come true. And so totally grateful for the people who've helped me get there, all the strength coaches, mom, dad, and cousins and aunts who cheered me on throughout the time. So it's been a true blessing, and I'm excited to go see those folks this week.
Give me the most memorable play from the college career in Syracuse where maybe you realized, all right, I'm not just the starting linebacker or I'm not just the special teamer fighting for defensive reps, but this could be something for me.
Yeah, so it was against Louisville versus Teddy Bridgewater, actually, right? It's like my sophomore year. We go to the Pinstripe Bowl that year, and I'm on the blitz package, so I'm realizing like, hey, in the blitz package, I have to make the most of any opportunity that I get, and so Teddy Bridgewater, Louisville, they were like ranked number 5, I think it was at that time. We ended up beating them, but there was a blitz play where I line up on the outside. I think I'm on the right side, and it's almost like a up and under type of play where I come up from the outside and come in through like the A gap, and I just drill him before he throws the ball. And I'm like, oh man, this is a good feeling, and I can see myself doing this at the next level. So when I see Teddy Bridgewater get drafted and go to the next level, I'm like, hey, I gave Teddy that work, on the field, and so I could see myself going to the next level and making plays. But that was a really good feeling. And then second to that one was Geno Smith. we played West Virginia in that Pinstripe Bowl. It was snowing, and we forced a safety on them. And so that was an epic experience. They had a great team: Tavon Austin, Stedman Bailey. I mean, they were loaded on the football field, and so just those two plays, getting big hits on professional quarterbacks. Those are my favorite moments at Syracuse.
Awesome stuff, man. And congratulations again. High School Hall of Fame, named to the All 21st Century Syracuse football team. Tremendous accomplishments, tremendous accolades, doing great work off the field in your life after football as well. He's Cam Lynch. Follow him on Instagram, Cameron Lynch 50. Cam, appreciate the time. Really enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to talking to you further up the road, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I appreciate you.